welcome to Pearl and Plume, a knitting and crafting podcast. My name is Kelly. This is episode 2, and I am filming outside with a pretty, probably not the best video quality, because that's what I have right now. I tried using a really nice camera and the image came out well, but I ran into all these other problems. So there's some ambient noise. My chickens are right over there, and they want to get in on the podcast. You can meet them later. And also there's some traffic nearby. I wish we lived deeper in the country, but it's still country enough to have bobcats, bears, foxes, and raccoons in my backyard. So here we go. On to what I have completed recently. I was going to have a section where it's like what I'm drinking, and I'm drinking water with ice that has melted already in the last 2 minutes, not even, and even some orange essential oil in it, because I'm kind of a hippie at heart. If it was an hour later, I'd be drinking a gin and tonic, and I'm not going to tell you when I'm recording this, because you might judge me. Okay, so I do have a finished object, and I'm going to show you that now. First, especially since I just got outside, and I'm going to be putting a sweater on, and it's July. Isn't that great? And I'm outside. So this is my Zweig. Gosh, lighting is really not awesome. Mitzi, cut it. Okay, this is my Zweig, and this is the back. And it's not the back because of short rows, because I skipped those. I just couldn't handle it, okay? There were things happening. I have still struggled with short rows, and not with holes, but other things that don't make sense. But like my friend Laura tells me, I make mistakes that are fascinating. Okay, so here's the Zweig. Oh, it looks so good in natural lighting, even though this is not an ideal spot. Here it is. There's my blue wheelbarrow. The Zweig. I made 3/4 length sleeves because it's a lightweight sweater, and you can do that, and it's kind of fun. And also, I was really sick of knitting the socks, and also my husband told me that would look great with 3/4 length sleeves. So I said, you know what, I'm going with it. I'm gonna go with it. I love this lace panel so much. I dyed the yarn, which I talked about last time. So here's what I'm gonna do. The bottom is kind of not my favorite because of all the white speckles that were not intentional, and I really should have used the other skein that I had made. I hadn't looked that deeply at the 3 skeins of blue yarn I had dyed, and this was the worst one. So the arms are not bad. This part is fine. I am going to hand paint these little spots, and that I think is going to work out just fine. If it was a lighter colored yarn, I probably wouldn't do that because I would have to dip the whole thing for it to be more uniform. But really, this yarn is so inky and dark that I don't think most of it's going to take up any more dye. Worst case scenario, it shows up, don't think it will, and I will dip the bottom part of the sweater very carefully. Mwah. Anyway, love this sweater. Story about this sweater. I started knitting garments a 1.5 years ago. Up until then, I had only knit rectangles, like scarves and a poncho, and God, the lighting is awful, sorry. And my good friend Laura came to work every day with a new beautiful sweater. She's from Finland, so she's just a nut. She's whatever. She's been knitting forever. And I was always gushing and gushing, and I'm quite a gusher. I'm pretty expressive when I like something and when I don't. And I was going nuts over every day the sweater she wore, and she finally was just like, I'll make you one. I'll make you a sweater. Okay, I'll make you a sweater. That's not why I was gushing. I don't expect people to knit me sweaters. But she did, because she is generous and kind and loves to knit, and also because she's really freaking fast knitter. So she made me a cardigan, and I loved it, and I was like, you're a genius, how do you do this? And she was like, I'm not a genius. I think she might actually be a genius, because she speaks like a zillion languages, and she's just really freaking smart. But she basically said, in Finland, back in the day, if you didn't knit your kids' sweaters, they would freeze to death. Not every Finnish woman is brilliant. It's knitting. You can do it. And I'm here to help you. And so I said, okay, I'm going to try. And honestly, she has been my master, and I've been her grasshopper from day one. And she's an amazing support with knitting, and she has given me this amazing gift. I saw that pattern, the Zweig by Caitlin Hunter of Boylan Knitworks, and I said to myself, I am going to knit that sweater. That is the sweater I want to knit someday. Not yet. I knit a bunch of, I think I've knit maybe a dozen sweaters in a year and a half, maybe more. So I knit a bunch of sweaters first because I hadn't done lace and cables and blah, blah, blah. But I made it. So for a while I was calling it my dream sweater. In fact, everyone was, and it was kind of embarrassing me to be like, hey, are you going to knit your dream sweater yet? And I was like, oh my God. Anyway, so wanted to show you that first because it's July and there's traffic, and I'm sorry about the ambient noise. I really hope you can hear me. I'm going to be sad if you can't. So here I dyed some yarn since the last podcast, and I'm going to show you the yarn, even though this is really not the best video quality, but this is not so bad. So this is one of the skeins I dyed. This doesn't have a purpose necessarily. I just love ochre mustardy yellows. It looks more faded in the picture than it really is. There's some paler, almost pinky colors, and then there's some really dark, rusty pooling here and there. I don't know if you want to call it pooling. It's not a speckle. It's more like a bloop. Bloop? That's weird. It's not a speckle. So there's this, and it really is richer than that. I have better pictures on Instagram. And then there's this, which I really love. It's really pinky, and it's got actually some tones from here in it. Pale pink, raspberry. It's like sherbet, whatever. And then this, which is similar to this again, but more uniform, a little bit more tonal, with pops of like raspberry. There you go. That's as good as it gets on this camera. That's too bad. And then there's this, which is really was supposed to be gray, and it turned out to be a silvery lavender. And again, everything is getting washed out because I'm outside and I'm using my FaceTime camera, which isn't great. I wanted this to be more gray. In this picture, it looks more purple, but it's still fairly neutral for me. So I dyed those with a purpose in mind, except for the first skein. I wanted to make a Sunset Highway sweater. So here we go. This is the yoke. And I'm knitting this for the glorious gold along of the Knitting Vicariously podcast with Caroline Dundernitz. Anyway, she's like my favorite podcaster. And I always want to speak with a British accent because of her, even though she's not British, so that's wrong. It's other people that are British that I watch. I think she's Scottish. Anyway, so this is my Sunset Highway, Caitlin Hunter. You can see there's a little bit of that pink here, and there's the navy blue that I dyed up, that I also used for my Zweig, and then the gold. And it's the glorious Gold Along Cal, or Knit Along, for knitting vicariously. And I'm going to wear this to Rhinebeck, and I'm going to follow her around with this and point to this, and then we'll hug. And that's the cool thing that happens, because she will give hugs. She won't be freaked out. And I'm a hugger too. Just dropped a couple stitches, gonna put those back on. Yeah, so fingering weight smells good because it smells like vinegar and jasmine, eucalyptus. And the body is going to be this color, and the sleeves. And if you're familiar with the pattern, there's this design she has on the sleeves. Here, there's some color work, and I'm not really sure I'm going to do that because some of the projects I've seen, it looks great, and others I'm like, it's a little too much for me. But we'll see. So I made some mistakes on this already. Not because, probably because I was drinking cocktails while knitting it, to be honest. That is the cause of many of my errors while knitting. I've learned to avoid cables when I've had 2 glasses of wine. That's never going to happen, at least not anytime soon. So the first mistake is hilarious. I cast on 180 stitches for, I think the smallest size requires 108. 180. Not the smallest. I'm sorry. Size small. I think it's the second size. Size 2. It's not extra small. It's a small. 108 stitches. I cast on 180. I don't even like casting. I love starting a new project. I hate casting on. It's wonky. There's so much counting. I've used a number of different cast on methods, and I don't love any of them. And anyway, so I'm knitting along, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of big. Well, here's the thing. Luckily, I was using smaller needles because I am a fairly loose knitter, and I used even smaller needles than she said to use for the ribbing. And I think because I use smaller needles, and maybe my gauge is shifting, I didn't gauge the watch for this either. I've gotten worse about that. Because I kind of have a range of acceptability with positive and negative ease. And I was like, I can wear this if it's really fitted, and I'll also be happy if it's a little big. So I'm gonna I just was so wanting to cast on. So I realized that pretty soon after when I had done all the ribbing. And I've tried it on. It's totally gonna be fine. It's not gonna be close, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be, it looks like a little bit of a wider neckline, and it's gonna be fine. It's not gonna be falling off my shoulders even, okay? I hope, because it will grow a little. But. So that's that. I've made other mistakes, and I think it has to do more with the color work. I don't know. It doesn't matter so much if color 1, color 2, color 3 matches up on this. But I really think this navy was supposed to appear again down here, and I just didn't. And it is true that this has been a gin and tonic knitting sweater. I do not have a drinking problem. I don't. But I like to have a cocktail when I'm knitting, and when I'm tending my chickens, and when I'm gardening. In the summer especially. And then I make mistakes. But that's why knitting is so wonderful. It's so forgiving of mistakes, I find. It's not like sewing, where you cut it and that material is gone. You're going to have to make something completely different with it. Okay. So that is the Sunset Highway Sweater by Caitlin Hunter of Boylan Knitworks in my project bag that my mumsy made for me. I don't know this fabric is just amazing. There's these angry people on it. I'm really not sure who designed the fabric, but I love it. I think it might be Kaufman. I'll look that up sometime. Probably. Maybe. 2 people watch this, so who freaking cares about that? No one's paying attention. Okay. So the other pattern I'm working on is by Hohi Locatelli. It is her hipster shawl. I probably got a third of the way through last year, and realized I did not love the color of the yarn I was knitting with. And it's funny because this is a very similar color, but it's just different enough for me. This is Ultra Alpaca by Barocco. It is, if you want a wide range of colors, soft, squishy, fun yarn to knit with, and you don't have a lot of money because you're a teacher and you have 3 kids and 2 of them have had braces and 1 is looking for college, and you have a bunch of cats and chickens and a snake living in your house and you like to do other things, Barocco is not such a bad yarn to knit with. $13 will get you 219 yards, and it is 50% alpaca, 50% Peruvian wool, and it comes in so many beautiful colors. I have knit another sweater and a couple hats with this. I just look at this, like, is this rusty, heathered yarn, and it's so squishy. Love it. So this is a really fun pattern. There's a lot of garter, so there's that easy stuff and easy knitting. In between some texture and these really fun, they don't look so great right now, but this pattern here where you're winding stitches around your needle and then slipping them and anyway, don't wind the stitches around your needle too tightly or you're going to have a problem, just from experience. That's happened. But there's a lot of garter, and I think this repeats a bunch of times, and it's just, you know, I haven't always been such a fan of garter stitch, but in shawls, that's kind of fun, and especially if you're working back and forth. I really am, like most people, I don't love purling. I am the most awkward purler. I don't even know how I get any of it done. So that is living in another project bag by my mumsy. It's this lovely Hawaiian print because she knows I love the beach. And I love knitting on the beach. And I don't know where the fabric is from, but like, you know, the 3 people watching this can call my mom because they have her number, because the family, friends. Here we go. Thanks, Mom. Drawstring bag, really cute, love it. Okay. I've already mentioned this pattern. I'm going to mention it again. And it's in this bag that one of my students made for me, which is so freaking sweet. Now that I'm known as a chicken lady at school, everything I get is chicken themed, and I kind of love it. This is just my gotta have this in my wardrobe, my capsule wardrobe cardigan. You know, everyone's gotta have. Sorry, I was dying. A couple years ago, my husband, who buys me the best clothes, everyone's like, oh my God, that's beautiful. Where'd you get it? I don't know. My husband bought it for me. I'm lucky. He bought me this charcoal gray fitted, super fine merino wool from Patagucci, I think. Patagonia. They call it Patagucci. It's so expensive. I don't even want to know how much it cost, but it was for like my birthday probably. I wore it constantly. I could wear it 3 or 4 seasons out of the year, and it went with everything, and it was thin, so not bulky, and I could shove it in my purse because I do carry big purses, and it was tiny. So I basically killed that sweater. There were so many holes in it. There was nothing I could do at the end. I really waited too long to mend it. So I bought this Lana Grossa cashmere blend. It's really very, I don't know why there's cashmere on the title. There's hardly any cashmere in it, but let's pretend that it's cashmere. And this was actually, I purchased, it's a little pricey for me, $16, yikes. But my friend Laura, my knitting master, knitting helper, got me a gift card to a knitting store because she's amazing. And so I feel like you can spend more when you have a gift card. It's not, yeah. Anyway, love it, and have hardly made any progress. I just try to knit away at it. This is not super fun because it's gray. There's no color work. There are no cables or anything. Once I get through with the raglan increases, oh, and this is the Coloring Cardigan by Katrin Schneider. Katrin, not sure. Love it. Super basic cardigan. When I'm done with the raglan increases and I'm just knitting away at the sleeves and body, it's going to be nice and easy. I'm also going to steek it, which means, if you don't know, steeking is when you cut your knitting, and sometimes you sew. Usually you end up sewing on either side of the cut beforehand to turn a sweater into a cardigan, or you could use it for other purposes, I assume. Dropped a stitch. Dang it. And basically, Laura, again, my friend, gave me the courage. I should call it fiber courage. She gave me the fiber courage to do this. She's like, I'll totally help you. Sometimes when she says she helps me, she actually does it for me, and I have to say I don't mind that much. Thanks, Loda. Mostly it's been mistakes. I have literally trudged to her house in the winter in blizzard-like conditions with my boots on and my knitting bag, like, save my knitting! And she's helped. So anyway, basically what I did is I added 5 stitches, and I added them right here between this marker and this marker. I'm counting to see how many I've dropped. No, 6 stitches. And that is where I'm going to sew 2 lines. I'm going to sew parallel lines, and then I'm going to cut in the middle and make button bands on either side. That way I'm not knitting back and forth and purling all the time. So I'm going to do it. Laura, you're just going to be there for moral support, right? You're not going to do it. You don't have to do it. Okay. Is my neighbor watching me? No, it's just my chickens. Okay, so hipster shawl, coloring cardigan. And I guess I can talk about what I'm going to knit next. I'm expecting a niece. I don't want any more babies, no. But I want nieces and nephews and cousins. That's fine. Bring it on. Friends can have babies. I will hold them. I will even spend the weekend with them while you sleep. And I am currently shopping for a sweater for her. I should really just start one. But I'm interested in knitting. I love Tin Can Knits patterns. They're super friendly. There's the descriptions. There's so much support. There's so much pattern support. They're just written really well. And I love their, what's it called? It's super basic, and it's free. Oh, they have a bunch of free basic patterns that are great. And it's the flax sweater. And it's basically super basic crew sweater, and I think there's some purling along, some garter stitch along the side here. And it just looks really cute. Maybe it's just up here. I'm not sure. Anyway, it comes in 2 weights. It comes in flax light. There's a flax light pattern, and there's a regular flax pattern, which I think is Aran/worsted weight. So I have so much leftover yarn at this point, and I have a lot of DK, fair amount of worsted, and I have a fair amount of fingering that I could double. So thinking of that. I also want to knit the ranunculus. And I can't remember the designer's name, but I will post it if I can figure out how to do that. And the ranunculus is knit in the pattern. You can use so many different weights of yarn, and I love mohair, so I'm going to probably do the mohair held with some fingering weight yarn, and I have quite a bit of hand-dyed fingering weight yarn now, so I'm kind of excited about that. And then Skein Deer Knits, another great podcast. I wish I could fix the lighting. She is about to release 4 patterns, and one of them is a summery top with this beautiful lace panel going down the front, and it's a lot of garter stitch, which again I tend to like more in shawls, but it's so cute, and it looked so cute on her, and she used this dark green yarn even though it's a summery top, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I love, love, love that, and I'm interested in doing that. And plus, she said it's really quick. I mean, it's quick for her. It's probably just moderately, reasonably quick for me. Probably would take me twice as long. Okay. I'm always looking for more sweaters. I need to knit 2 sweaters at a time. That is just basically how it goes. And what I do is I start 2 sweaters around the same time, leave one, get past the sleeves on one, I prefer top down, and then I get into the boring stockinette part. Then I go back to the other sweater and kind of get to the same spot, and then I just pick the one I want to wear first and go with it. That's been my thing. Now, what I'm going to try and start doing is knitting 2 different weight sweaters at the same time, because right now I'm doing a fingering weight sweater and a sock weight sweater, and they are both so lightweight. The sock weight, I don't know why it's not sock weight, sport weight, whatever. Sock weight's pretty much the same as fingering, I think. The sport weight sweater, which is the cardigan, is almost the same feel as the fingering weight, and they're both so slow because I'm not super fast knitter. The reason I get things done and people are like, oh my god, you need another sweater, because that's all I'm freaking doing. I mean, sometimes I knit at stoplights. I don't knit and drive, but sometimes at stoplights. And this brings me to the next topic, which is, where can one knit? Almost anywhere. I will knit at the beach. I will knit anywhere. I don't care about being embarrassed. I will knit while I am waiting in line at the doctor's, waiting in line to get paperwork. It keeps me from being impatient. I'm a pretty patient person anyway, but like, I'm never wasting time because I'm always making clothes. However, there are times when it's rude to knit. And it's funny, I was at my friend Laura's violin concert. This is during a Bach festival this year, and I brought my knitting, because I always bring my knitting. I'm sitting there, it's kind of an intimate concert, it was very quiet before everyone started playing, and I'm looking around, and some people are a little dressed up, and everyone's like looking, and there aren't that many people, and I was like, yeah, I can't knit here. It kind of would be rude, I guess, to knit here. It's too intimate. But I've knit at chorus concerts because there are lots of people in the audience, and who can really tell, and I think it's okay. I don't have my phone light on or anything. Thought about it, but didn't do that. Okay, moving on. So I took care of my woolens. A lot of people talk about that. Some great advice out there. Here's what I did. I dumped, so I have 3 tubs under my bed with lids, plastic tubs. One has all my jeans in it. I have a lot of jeans and overalls. And 2 have wool clothing, shawls, sweaters, dresses, and scarves. And I dumped them into a big laundry basket. I took half of them, kind of my favorite half, mostly my sweaters, and I put them in and I didn't put them in the bathtub yet. I filled the bathtub with lukewarm water and some Eucalan, some jasmine scented Eucalan. Some of these sweaters were superwash, some were not. I actually generally prefer non-superwash wool because I do like woolly wool. And I gently put the sweaters in and got them immersed in the water and made sure they all got soaked, and then I drained the water. Eucalan you don't have to rinse, so I didn't put a ton in because I didn't want them to feel soapy, obviously, but I didn't worry too much about the rinsing. I keep looking over here because there's like creaking noises, and I feel like my neighbors are watching me podcast, and that would be weird, even though I love my neighbors. So then I gently, I'm doing this, but I really tried to be gentle about wringing them out, especially the non-superwash woolen items, and I hung them out to dry. Now, you have to be careful hanging them out to dry, I think, because even though you've blocked them, obviously you can reblock. So I was just careful about how I draped them, and some of them I actually laid down on our wooden picnic table on some towels. It was a super hot, super sunny day. They dried really quickly. They smell good. They're clean. I wiped out the inside of the tubs just to kind of get the skin cells or food debris out of them. Food debris, I mean, it's not like I'm eating in them, but you know, you might get a little crumb on your sweater and you don't notice it, and then you pack it away, and that will attract or feed the moth larva that eats your sweater. I see a moth and I go into a rage. So I packed them away, and that worked for me, and it was pretty simple. I used the bathtub. I did a bunch at a time. I just was careful about how they were laying, and I have to say, I was home most of the day, and I rotated the drying racks outside so that they would be facing the sun, and then I did turn some sweaters over, and I moved some things around so they wouldn't dry in a funky, with funky imprints on them or anything, but it worked really well. And in my tubs, I have some little cedar blocks that I should probably sand and actually put more oil on, maybe. but I didn't want it to get on my sweaters. And then I have bars of soap. Just nice soaps that I've gotten for the holidays, stocking stuffers, or soaps that I just buy, because I am a soap I like storing things with soap. Does anyone else do that? My whole family does that. Anyway, and then you have soap and you use it, and then you get more, and then you put it in your linen closet or with your woolen items. It's just, and then everything smells good. Okay, chicken news. So, this spring, like last spring and the spring before, I got chickens. But I'm getting fewer and fewer, because technically I'm breaking the law with how many chickens I have in town. And I'm not going to tell you what town I live in so that no one can report me. But I'm not even sure how many I'm supposed to have. I think it's 4 or 6. I have 6 adults, and I got 2 chicks, 2 babies. And I basically had been putting the babies, they were like 4 weeks old when I got them. I've been putting them outside in my backyard, but really close to the house, like just feet from my house and my open windows, and my back porch, in a dog crate that they couldn't get out of, but it would give them space because it was pretty tall. It was a big crate, and it would, and I put sticks in it so they could like perch on the sticks and have fresh air all day. And then obviously, but well before dusk, I brought them in. Well, a couple weeks ago, I was making dinner. We finished eating dinner, and the kids are cleaning up the dishes, and I hear this squawking and peeping outside, and I run outside. I was actually about to go outside because it was still a beautiful sunny day. It was, I think, about 7, but it was still super sunny. And I see a bobcat attacking my chick through the dog crate, like putting its paw in and scratching her. And she, of course, being a chick who, when they panic, they do stupid shit. They like literally try to escape from the safety of their fencing or whatever. So she actually tried to escape and got cut. There wasn't a lot of blood, but her injuries were bad enough that she ended up dying after a week and a half. And I'm really not good about sick animals and blood and stuff, but I really worked hard, and my mom helped me, and everyone else in the family helped. Well, not my husband helped me, the kids didn't help much, but I hope I didn't kill her, but I think it was mostly the shock, and then what the hell is on me? Secondary problems, great, from the accident. So yeah, freaking bobcat. I mean, I know we have bobcats here, and bears, and foxes, and fisher cats, but seriously, in my backyard, I live in a small town. So she died. Her name was Loretta Lynn, and her sister June Carter Cash is still with us. June is now in the dog crate, and it is completely protected from predators with hardware cloth that has tiny, tiny holes. And I bring her in well before 7. But that bobcat was not scared of me. I went right up to that bobcat, and he was like, trying to get my food. And so I had to chase him, and then he came back. So my husband and my son, my youngest son, ran out with rakes and a hoe and chased that bobcat out of our yard. I hope they didn't kill it. I really don't want to, he's just hungry, but still, it was scary. Yeah. So that's the bobcat story, and I will try to put a picture here, and I don't know if I can, because I'm not good at that. I have a picture on my phone, but this isn't going to work, I bet. So yeah, bobcat attack. And my friend was like, you ran after a bobcat? But you know what? Of course I did. I didn't even think about it. This thing is cute. Look at that. It's kind of adorable. It was the size of a really big house cat. Not scared of me at all. The lighting's actually better now. So yeah, the girls are quiet. Hey girls. Hey girls. I'd love to show you, but I think this might be awkward. And messy. Messy because I'm spinning this around. Hey girls. Hi. Can you say hi to the 3 people that watch my podcast who see you probably anyway because they visit, because they're family? Hi, that's Georgiana, Mitzi, and Susie going from left to right. So cute. And now we can walk over and see Junie, June Carter Cash. This is your baby. And you can see my Cobb Jobs little baby crate for her. Junie! Hi, lovey. Hi. Yeah, she's safe back there. And the girls are like, why are you even looking at that biatch? Anyway, yes, this is my coop. It's pretty cute. So, thanks for listening if you are one of the 3 people that listen to this podcast. It was fun for me because it's summertime and I'm just knitting, gardening, parenting, you know. Anyway, I hope you subscribe and like this because, like I said, if I get a lot of subscribers, my teenagers will think I am cool and, you know, that would be fun.